Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Capricorn is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Capricorn, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we have a 5 of Wands. Interesting. This is a card of fighting. This is a card of a, let's say, a very dynamic relationship with someone, right? I feel like you're usually one that tries to avoid conflict. You don't like getting in the mix with people. It's kind of like you'd rather walk away and do things on your own than to get tangled up with somebody and to get into an argument or to sort of engage with someone in a conflict, right? But I feel like right now somebody is, or something's going on where you are having to sort of deal with it in the best way that you can. Okay, this is a card of kind of learning how to control ourselves. I think there's something that's like really frustrating you, and we don't want to feel frustrated. We don't want to feel angry. I don't want to feel like that kind of like adrenaline, or I don't want to get all worked up about something. So I wonder what this situation is. We need a little bit of context for this card, obviously. But this is us, it's Saturn in Leo. So this is us trying to really restrain ourselves a little bit, trying to sort of show our strength by not fighting and not engaging with someone who is trying to draw us into a battle of some kind, right? There we have the harmony, the 6 of swords. I feel like you're using your words. Okay, that's a very good thing. We have a 2 of pentacles. We have a 4 of cups. We've got that 9 of swords up above. So I feel like this is a situation that really needs your attention. And there we have the chariot. So I feel like this is you kind of moving on, I feel like your energy is shifting. And I feel like this is a really big energy shift for you, because we know that we can't exist in this same energy, and this 5 of Wands energy is going to lead to a 9 of swords. Okay, so I think Spirit is sending you this 9 of swords message to say, hey, if we engage with this person, we're doing nothing but hurting ourselves, hurting the situation, and things are going to get worse. You're not going to feel better if we sort of let our anger go, right? So I feel like we're trying to maintain a very healthy mindset here, and we're trying to fortify ourselves, and we're trying to continue on our journey by getting away from whatever this situation is. Okay, here we have the Knight of Wands. Yes, you want to leap in. You would love to just jump into this and let go, right? Let loose. But here we have another Aries energy now in the position of the environment. This might be a boss or someone in an authority position for you. We have the Wheel of Fortune, and we have the 5 of Cups. So I think you're finding a healthy way to express your emotions here. The destiny here for you, the final outcome being the 5 of Cups, kind of feels like this is you're happy to disappoint the other person. You know what I mean? Like someone's trying to. They may be an Aries person. They're trying to draw you into a battle, and you're going to be very happy to disappoint them, because they're trying to get a reaction out of you. They're trying to see you break down. They're trying to see you lose control. Okay? That's what they want. We're not going to give them what they want, so they're going to be sorely disappointed. We're going to be very happy to disappoint them. Now, we're going to feel a little bit of sadness too, because, jumping in, this is the card of losing control sometimes, right? By just letting ourselves go and losing control and jumping into that fight is going to feel good. In a short-term kind of ego way, it's going to feel good. But ultimately, it would lead to more misery for you. It's going to separate you from your goals right now. So if this is happening at work, this is somebody that's really trying to sabotage your success. So I feel like we're shifting out of that energy, and we're finding a way to not let that person win. Okay, let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right over here with Alien Simon Mork Ripley right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, put your prediction in the comments down below. Okay. Now, as we look around the room, we see 1, 2, 3 major arcana, right? Clustered over here, a cluster of major. This is a test from Spirit for you. Okay? It's a test of your fortification. It's a test of how well you're in control of your ego, because something is happening that is sort of, it's taunting your ego. It's trying to pull your ego into a fight, right? And so Spirit, I think, is testing your fortification. And how well are you, because you have these greater life goals. So how committed are you to your goals if you're going to let your ego lose control and sort of jeopardize your path because there's some other idiot that's, causing trouble, right? So I think we're dealing with things in a very responsible way. You're dealing with it through the proper channels. You're dealing with it through the right sort of communication, or you're documenting everything. You're being very smart about how you handle this, okay? We've got, obviously, our fire energies. We've got our water energies. We've got our air energies and a little bit of earth, okay? The earth here is really the name of the game. The Two of Pentacles is a card of harmonious change, that we're realizing that it's going to be better for us in the long run if we do the right thing. If we, rather than sort of accepting that this is just an inevitable situation and I've got no options, you're realizing that you always have an option. Okay? We have the option of leaving, going a different direction, getting out of the relationship. We have the options of letting this other person sort of destroy themselves without our intervention at all. We need to take care of what we're doing. We need to make sure that we are fortified and that we're doing the right things, that we're making good choices. Okay? Because the path that you're on now, you don't want to cause any disruption in that. You don't want to jeopardize the path you're on. Especially this, let's say this is at work or something, right? Maybe it's a family thing, maybe it's your friend stuff, or it's your in-laws or something along these lines. We don't want to cause the misery and the despair and the pain and the suffering by our own actions. We don't want to be the cause of it. So I think we're choosing to go a different direction, to be smart, to regulate our frustration, to regulate our emotions, right? Because this is a ferocious emotion in here that really needs our control, and we need to be able to contain this. Okay, let's talk about the Four of Cups here. This is in the background for you. This is in sort of your history. This is an influence that's still sort of having an effect on you now. This is something that about your past and energy that's still lingering for you right now. Something that we haven't quite gotten over. Okay, and I think that in your past you've had a lot of times in your life where you didn't stand up for yourself. Maybe as a kid you were bullied. Maybe in a family situation you were sort of taught that you shouldn't react to things and just sort of be passive and just kind of hold yourself back and all this kind of stuff, right? I feel like there was at least one incident where you didn't stand up for yourself. Okay, and I think it's something it's kind of still lingering. We still have issues with that. And so now that this situation is currently in your life, there's something that's being evoked from the past, something that's being evoked in you that is hitting upon this past thing, and it's saying like, I need to stand up for myself. And if there's a bully, I need to fight back. This old thing, you got to punch the bully in the nose and they'll go away, right? Let's not do that though. Let's not do that. Okay? Because that is something that we know in our spirit, in our essence, in our kind of spiritual realm. We know in our higher mind that that's not the answer. Okay, but there is something that is being, I hate to use the word triggered, but something that's being, there's a button that's being pushed. right, from the past. And that Four of Cups is kind of this passive kind of card that is saying, like, I've let people get away with things too much, and I'm not going to do it anymore. And so now if somebody's trying to take advantage of you, or somebody's trying to sabotage your work, or somebody's being cruel or abrasive or hurtful toward you, again, now this is a tough situation, because I don't want to imply that we should never stand up for ourselves or defend ourselves. That's not what I'm saying. Okay, we have to be smart so that we can ensure our trajectory stays productive and successful. You are on a greater path in life, that this is a little speed bump, and how we deal with this speed bump is going to affect the rest of the journey. You hit the speed bump too hard, you're going to have a rough ride for the rest of the trip. Going to break something, or the car's going to break down, or something like this. So we have to be really smart. Now, I'm not saying that we don't stand up for ourselves, but let's be strategic here. Let's find a way to, let's use our sort of our higher love and our higher wisdom to figure out the way forward. Let's not just let a button get pushed and then we just have this automatic response, okay? Because that's kind of what we see with the 4 going to a 5. It's kind of like someone is pushing a button and then you react in that particular way. And if this is a person that knows how to push your buttons, they're trying really hard to get you to do something that's going to really F up your life. Okay, this might be, I don't know who the person is. It feels like maybe it's a work thing, but it could literally be anybody. Family member, it could be someone online, I don't know. The 6 of Swords is your strategy. This is a Mercury in Aquarius energy, right? So it's kind of us strategizing what is going to be the course of action that I can take that is going to have the best possible outcome for me. And hopefully for everybody else too, but really for me. So what do I need to do that's going to be, what is the smartest thing that I need to do right now? I don't want to operate from a place of anger, right? This is kind of like our anger is making our decisions. We need to restrain our anger a little bit and take a deep breath and try to harmonize our mind and say, what does spirit, what does my soul, what does my true self want me to do right now? What is the best thing that I should do? Is it writing something down? Is it communicating? Is it having a sit-down meeting? Is it, going through different channels? Is it writing a letter, an email, whatever it might be. But it's certainly something that we have to decide on our own. We're deciding from that higher place how to behave. We're not letting our anger tell us how to behave. See, this is our behavior. This is kind of like your choice. You got a choice of what you're gonna do with your body and your words, you know what I mean? Like, you have a choice in your behavior. We can't control what other people do, but we can control what we do. I can control my behavior. I don't have to let that person push my buttons. My buttons get pushed. I need to find a way to recognize that and sort of unplug that button so that they don't just sit there and they keep pushing your button and getting the same response. Push your button, get a response. Push your button, get a response. And that's not the life we want to live, right? So we are trying to organize our thoughts. We're trying to be mindful. It's really mindfulness, right? And it's not like, oh, I'm angry. It's saying, okay, there is an emotion, there's a wave of anger that's trying to take over my will right now. And so rather than this being something we identify with, and now I am literally identified with my anger, and I am anger, then there's no will there. We're just completely overwhelmed, and this is controlling us. And by extension, that other person is controlling you because they pushed the button, right? But if we say rather to ourselves, okay, there's an anger that's trying to dominate my space right now. There's an anger that's trying to overwhelm me. Then it kind of creates a contention. It creates really the dynamics of this card, which is the wrestling with something, not with the person out there, but with the person in here. Okay, there's this anger that's trying to take over my willpower right now, and I need to wrestle with that, and I need to make sure that I get control back. So by disidentifying with the anger through this air energy, this is kind of like, staying centered in our mind, acknowledging the anger but not identifying with it, looking at it as something that is separate from us, that's trying to get to us, and we have to wrestle with it. It puts us in that mindset where we can do something different. If we're completely identified, we're hopeless, we're lost, we're just succumbing, surrendering, and acquiescing to the anger or the frustration or whatever the emotion is. And then our behaviors are not even ours anymore, right? So we have to be mindful and we have to disidentify so that we can struggle to overcome that feeling and make choices that are productive, healthy, good choices for us right now, okay? Because we certainly don't want this pain and suffering, misery. This is kind of the worst card of the tarot, right? This is just saying like, this is bad news, right? Really bad news bears here. We don't want this situation to remain. Okay, we certainly don't want to live under the shadow of this Nine of Swords. Let's say this hasn't happened yet, but we don't want to live with that above us. Could you imagine you're sitting in your office and there's just like these 9 poison daggers just kind of dangling above your head? At any minute they could come falling down and impale you. Like that would give me anxiety, right? So I feel like something needs to be done. We need to change something about our situation in a way that is right for us. And whether that's kind of like going to the boss or the manager, having a healthy conversation, writing things down, documenting things, or literally just sort of moving ourselves somewhere else. We do what we need to do in order to keep ourselves safe and keep our future secure. We don't want to jeopardize that future. Okay, so the Chariot card is that kind of fortification. This is saying, look, I'm putting on the armor so that this person's words or actions aren't going to affect me as much. When you're wearing the armor, you're still going to feel the blow, but it's not going to hurt as much, right? That's the theory of the armor. You'll still feel it, but it's not enough to really disable you. Yeah. So we thicken our skin a little bit as we figure out what move to make, because you are in service of something greater. We're not in service to this person, like that person. Who are they that they're trying to control our behaviors in this indirect way, maybe, right? So we realize that my future, my mission in life, my spiritual path is so much more important than this petty tyrant, that I cannot let them push my buttons, or I cannot let them steer my chariot. Even if they're trying to sabotage the chariot, I can't let them win. And their win would be you identifying with that emotion and behaving in a way that's going to jeopardize your future. Somehow it feels, from your perspective, now I can't read them, I don't know who they are, maybe they're an Aries person, I feel like you're looking at them as kind of a tyrant. I can't read their energy, but I can see them through your eyes, okay? And it feels as if they are trying to sabotage your future. And so we don't want to let them do that, right? So the Chariot is us realizing that our duty, our loyalty is not to them, but to our higher path, our goal, our future, whatever you're trying to do. This is a work thing. It's toward your successful career at that company or whatever, right? And that's what's important, not whether or not, this person is in your life, or whether or not they're getting away with something, right? We have to think of what's best for our future. Yeah. And that might mean you not fighting, but fleeing, right? I feel like we have a duty to retreat first. Okay, that's probably not a popular idea, probably not a popular opinion. But I feel like our first obligation is to do whatever we have to do to get away from this, to disengage from this so that our future is secure. Now, if it comes down to it, you're gonna have to send some words back their way, right? We're gonna have to stand up for if push comes to shove, metaphorically speaking. Then you're gonna have to do, you're well within your rights, But our first duty, our first course of action, I think, is to try to diffuse the situation, to eliminate that situation through the proper channels. Okay. Now, on the path of the Serpent, we're going to talk about these cards. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. The readings are totally free. Your general energy is the Knight of Wands. This is the card that wants to jump in. It would feel so good to just lose control, right? This is a very impulsive card. And I think in this situation, in this position, really the thing that seems right to you is to just jump in and let them have it. To, whatever they're doing to you, you're going to do it right back. Does that make sense? That's exactly what they want. They want to be able to push your button and get a reaction. And this is a reaction. It's not a response. It's not a well thought out, controlled, higher wisdom, higher love kind of, response. This is just a reaction. Someone pushes the button and the machine does the function that the button is tied to, right? And we don't want to be that. We're not robots, right? We need to think for ourselves. Someone pushes our buttons. We don't have to let that circuit be completed and result in a behavior. Okay, but it's going to feel good if you do. And that's kind of the temptation here, is that you really want to, because I think you're kind of mad. I think it's pretty frustrating. Okay. Now, the emperor in the environment, this feels like the tyrant. This feels like a micromanager. It feels like somebody at work that's trying to boss you around, but they ain't the boss. It feels like it could be a family member that is just always on your case, or is always trying to dictate our movements and what we do and where we go and all this kind of thing. So it feels like this is a petty tyrant for you, okay? But it's also showing that you need to remain in control of your faculties in this situation. In this relationship with this person, you got to try to be the bigger person. You've got to try to control your ego and not lose control and not act out of anger or frustration, but do the right thing strategically. What's going to be the best thing to do? Maybe let the other person do what they're doing, because they're going to end up ruining their own future. The trash is going to end up taking itself out. Okay? You don't really need to lift a finger here. Okay? Karma, right? Karma will get them. We have to only worry about how we are behaving. That's all that matters. Okay? And I think that we try as much as we can to focus only on that and fortify ourselves against whatever this incoming negative energy is. We try to be as fortified as possible. We try to be in as much control of ourselves as we can, and it ain't easy, because this card's ready to leap into action. This card is saying, I've got to control myself. The obstacle here is the Wheel of Fortune, because this is the card of divine timing. This is the card of karma. So Spirit's saying that, look, karma's going to get this other person. You don't have to do it. But this is also a card that's saying this is a test of your commitment to your future and to your actual goals. Are you going to let this petty person, for lack of a better term, interfere with your expansion, your growth, your prosperity, your wealth, right? Your future at this company, or your well-being, or your happiness, etc. So this is the card of prophet. This is the card of kind of like, we're worried that this person is going to affect our future, that this situation is going to jeopardize maybe the wealth that we're building, the career we're building, the family we are building, or whatever it might be. I think that Spirit is asking you to trust that this person is going to, like the trash is going to take itself out, that this person is going to ruin their own lives. Don't let them ruin yours. And you certainly don't do anything to ruin your life. Okay? So a little bit of faith in the universe here. It's like Spirit saying, no, just don't do anything. Keep doing what's right for you. Trust me, this is going to end. This is going to be fine. This person's they're going to be, eventually they're going to be fired or let go, or something else is going to take place for them that's going to remove them from your aura, okay? This is the card of growth and expansion. Maybe it feels as if this person is trying to prevent you from getting a promotion or some sort of an increase. Maybe it feels like they're sabotaging your work, or they're trying to make you look bad, or that they are putting too much. They're putting almost like too many responsibilities on you, because they want to try to break you so that you don't succeed. They're trying to sabotage success in a way. They're going to be very disappointed. The Five of Cups at the end here. It is a card of disappointment. It's a card of something that should be here, but it's not. And I think that this is you not reacting in the way that they want you to react. And that's going to frustrate and disappoint them. Okay. I think that this is also the card of us taking the power away from this intense emotion that we feel, that 5 of Wands, right? It's a frustration, it's an anger, it's a rage. We're taking the power away from it by looking at it objectively. When we realize that it is not us, that we're not identified with it. We don't have to be attached to the emotion. I am anger. No. There is an anger coming toward me that is trying to overtake my aura right now, and I'm not going to let it. I'm going to fight against that, feeling. I think we sort of take the energy away, and it becomes more manageable. It becomes something that we can deal with a little bit easier. And because we're sort of going from fire to water, I feel like we're taming that rage a little bit. And it's even this idea of in your response to this other person, we don't want to be fierce and active like fire. We want to be flow, like water. We want to use a little bit more subtlety than just brute force. Okay? And I think that you're going to get the better of this situation, and I think it's going to work out in your favor. Let's look at the mystery card. Okay, I want another Wheel of Fortune. I want a 9 or a 10 of Pentacles. I want maybe even a 10 of Swords, kind of saying like this person's plan, like whatever their plan is totally gone. Maybe it's even going to be the 7 of Cups, kind of the garbage, right, taking itself out. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's see what we have. The 8, look at that, the 8 of Cups. Walking away. Right? Walking away from that emotional energy. Choosing not to identify with it. This could be somebody, this could be you, sort of turning your back on the situation and going and doing your own thing, taking care of your path, and leaving this nonsense where it is. You're not even allowing yourself to kick the cups over. You're just sort of walking away and saying, I'm going to refuse to engage in this. If somebody's trying to kind of call you into a fight, or they're saying some things to you and trying to elicit a response, and you just very casually walk away without giving them anything, that's a win, right? So sometimes retreat, again, retreat might be the best first course of action. We just want to get away from them, and sometimes that frustration, they're gonna end up sort of self-destructing, because your nonchalance almost, right, is going to frustrate them to no end, and they're going to end up, it's going to take care of itself, right? That karma is going to get them. But what we want to do is walk away from those sorts of the bait. You don't want to take the bait. Okay, I think this card is perfect. Now we're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner, and there's a link down in the video description for the extendeds. New readings for Capricorn, Thursdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. The readings are totally free. They don't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.